I thought I would share with you things that I wish I knew before pregnancy. A symptom that I did not see coming. I thought it would really trigger me, and we're honest here. It is what it is. Wow, this is so insane to feel. The whole thing with pregnancy is that you have no idea. You're on your own, kid. It doesn't make you a bad parent. It doesn't make you any less excited. It's just a reality of things are changing. Your entire life is about to change, and you have a right to mourn this chapter of your life as you're preparing for another one. Well, hello. I'm Gabby. If you're new here, welcome. I am pregnant with my first baby, and I am now 35 weeks pregnant. And today, I thought I would share with you things that I wish I knew before pregnancy. And I'm going to talk about everything from symptoms, feelings, experiences, things that either I was not expecting or that I was expecting in a different way. And I just thought it could be interesting to kind of tell you all about it, because pregnancy is quite the experience and you don't really know what to expect, or you hear stories but your experience may be different. And I'm very open. You will see that I share everything and I don't filter information. I think that personally I like to know things because it helps me prepare, and I thought I would do that whilst I'm getting ready. I'm just going to do like my pretty much everyday makeup. Really helps me to feel more human, because if you cannot tell, I am tired. I am 35 weeks pregnant. I'm entering my 9th month, and this is absolutely insane. So yeah, we're not getting a lot of sleep here. So I'm just going to get ready, and if you want to get ready with me, go ahead. I will put all of the products that I'm using right here. When I could tell that I started to feel kind of pregnant, when I had like the kind of first feeling of like, I think I want a baby, I did what I do best, which is I did some research, and I was just like looking for everything and sort of wanting to prepare myself for things, but also kind of I love hearing about other people's experience with everything. And I think pregnancy is that thing that people talk about a lot, but in a sense every pregnancy is unique. Even people who have had like 3 or 4 children say that each pregnancy is its own thing. You don't live it the same way, you don't have the same symptoms or feelings, or the experience as a whole is different. And it has nothing to do with the gender of the baby, it just has to do with you and your body and how you're experiencing it. And I really wanted to kind of have an idea of what could happen and what I could prepare myself for, but I've really realized throughout those 8 months that I'm finishing that you cannot prepare for pregnancy totally. There is no way for you to know exactly what your pregnancy is going to feel like, be like, what's going to happen. I'm not saying that to kind of scare anyone who is wanting to get pregnant or in their first trimester. Absolutely not. I'm just telling you that like anything that you're experiencing is valid and normal, because this is your experience. And so I just wanted to kind of share my personal experience, my feelings, my symptoms, things that I did not see coming, in the hope that it could help you feel less alone or understand what's happening to you. And I'm gonna start with feelings. I think a big thing for me was that I always thought that I would be someone who would want to share that I'm pregnant with the closest people around me as soon as I knew. And that really did not happen. When I found out that I was pregnant, it was not a shock in the sense that we had been trying, but it happened the 2nd month of us trying, and we had been kind of preparing ourselves for it to kind of take a bit longer than that. So when it happened, I was like, I've had a few symptoms, but yeah, it already like, wow, we were so excited and so looking forward to everything. At the same time, I do have hypothyroidism, like Hashimoto disease, so I knew that I had a few more medical things to go through, but I was like, I'm ready, I'm fine, everything's okay. And at first we were like, okay, we're just going to check that everything's fine. We did kind of a test to figure out when I got pregnant, because my cycles hadn't been like predictable before that, and so we weren't sure exactly when I got pregnant. I pretty much knew because I tracked my ovulation and whatever, but I don't know if it's the same everywhere, but in France you are able to get a scan for kind of dating the pregnancy. So of course with we did that. And then after that, I was like, I really want to tell the people around me, as in my parents and my sister, but very close family members, because we were super excited. And at the same time, I saw a doctor and she told me, like, because you do have an autoimmune disease, there are more chances for you to miscarry. And I really felt that I needed everyone's support, but I really thought that it would be something that I would be so excited to share with my best friends and to share with people who could really support me and help me, and you know, I could talk to on an everyday basis. And I didn't feel that. I felt like I didn't really want to share as much. First of all, I was really happy to keep it just between my partner and I for some reason. And when we told my parents and my sister, we were like, just do not get too excited. Something could happen. We were just like so nervous as well. It didn't ruin the experience, but I was really expecting for me to kind of want to announce to everyone. And it had been something that I had talked about with my best friends for a couple years. Like, they knew that I really wanted a baby, but I had told no one that we had started trying. And so it was like, my God, this is gonna be the greatest surprise and whatever. But I felt really nervous to announce. And the second thing that I did not really expect as much was the fear of losing the baby. That was really not something that I was expecting as much, because I think there's also this thing on social media when people just show you how excited they are and they just talk about how much they love the baby already. They're so looking forward to everything, but they don't really talk about the fear of loss if they haven't experienced loss before. I know that for, unfortunately, women who have miscarried before, that's really something that's on their mind 24/7 most of the time, like for a long period of time, until they're pretty sure that things are going to get better. And sometimes it just doesn't stop until they give birth. But as someone who was only told that they had a higher chance of it happening to them because of their health, I was not expecting to be like that nervous and anxious and worried like 24/7 about it. And it just like, it took me so long to feel excited and to look forward to it. I think it really started after the second trimester, the first ultrasound we had, because we had to have two. So around like the 22-week mark, that's when I really started to feel a bit better. My baby is a very active baby, so I've been feeling them move for a very long time, but still it did not make me feel any better. I just needed to see on an ultrasound with a technician that everything was fine. And even after that, we had another ultrasound 3 weeks after because of baby's positioning. And that time again, I needed to hear that baby was okay to feel better. I also knew that around that mark, there was a higher chance of baby surviving if they were to come early, like super early. And that's when I felt a bit better. But I really was not expecting being in that state of fear and of overprotection of myself if anything were to happen. And I mean, I think I do also suffer from anxiety. I've had a few things happen in my life that were very difficult. My father had cancer and then a relapse, and it was not looking good. And I've had other people in my life who have had cancer. And so maybe, you know, it's the trauma and everything. Maybe it's just the way that my brain works. But that I really did not expect. A symptom that I did not see coming, seeing my body evolve, was first of all so cool. I'm someone who has had struggles with body dysmorphia, with an eating disorder, with being very nervous about gaining weight, and pregnancy therefore was something that I was nervous about because I thought it would really trigger me, and it has sometimes triggered me, not gonna lie, we're honest here. But also I found it so freaking cool how naturally my body has adapted to me being pregnant. This feeling of there's so much going on inside of me that I'm not asking directly to my body to do, but it's doing it. And it was just like a real love for my body that started when I figured out that my body was helping me create a human being from a cell. And it's been incredible. And I've really learned to love and embrace my body throughout my pregnancy. I've had moments when I would gain weight a bit more, when I was like, okay, I have no control over this. This is really weird. How are we feeling? And sometimes it was just like the hormones making it a bit harder for me to kind of feel okay. And other times it was just getting used to it, I think. Pregnancy is all about getting used to changes, getting used to having less control over what's going on in your body, and at the same time really embracing what's happening and just letting go of that control and just like giving love to your body because it's doing something pretty incredible. Also, as my bum has evolved, I've loved seeing the evolution of the shape of it. It's quite insane. It's magnificent is what I want to say. It starts so low and then you can tell that it's moving up, and then the shape kind of changes. And I love, now that I'm so pregnant, I've loved seeing the shape of my bum change depending on where the baby is in my stomach. I can definitely see the movements because, like I mentioned, baby's very active, and so it's been incredible to see like there's my baby inside of my belly. I'm never alone in that sense, and it's quite incredible. And as my belly grew, one thing that I was not really prepared for was ligament pain. I do not know if it's just my body, it could be, but I've had a few times when the ligament pain has been so strong that I've had to pretty much not walk for a few days. It happened again this week. I was out and about for like 15 minutes and I had to come home because the pain was so bad that as soon as I got home, I had to lay down for like 15 minutes, not moving or anything, on my side with my pregnancy pillow and just breathe and try to calm down because the pain was very, very bad. Once again, could be just me, could be how my body kind of deals with it. That I was not prepared for, in the sense that if I had known, sometimes it would have taken some of the anxiety off, because once I talked about it with my midwife when it happened around, I think it must have been around 20 weeks, I explained everything to her. She was like, that's totally normal because actually baby is experiencing a growth spurt and therefore your body is moving more and the ligament is holding your uterus, and so it's kind of stretching a bit more than what's comfortable for it, in the sense that it's quicker than usual, and so you have more pain. And so when that happens, you just need to kind of relax, take it slow, be a bit less on your feet, be a bit less active, and just rest. But it's totally normal. Your body is doing what it's supposed to do, and I just wish I had known that so that I would not have stressed as much. And honestly, even though I know it, like sometimes when it's painful, it is still nerve-wracking because you're like, is it really the ligament? Is it not? But honestly, yeah, now I can totally see the difference. But also sometimes it's frustrating when you're not able to do as much as you would want to do. But I just wish I had known that it would be that painful. Another thing I was not really, I knew about, everyone knows about, pregnancy tiredness. You just know you're going to get more tired. And I heard about it for the first trimester and I experienced it, but not as much. I think because of the stress of the possibility of miscarrying, I was busying myself a lot. So I was tired, but I was always trying to be doing something to kind of take my mind off of the anxiety. I started feeling it more at the beginning of the second trimester. Once we were a bit more in the clear, I think it was really when my body was like, let's just chill for a second. Felt it a little bit throughout the second trimester, but it was okay. I think I just needed to learn to rest a bit more. But the third trimester, you guys, this is no joke. This is a level of tiredness that I had never experienced before in my life, and I'm someone who gets tired pretty easily. Don't know if it's due to the autoimmune disease or just like my body is like that. I've been so freaking tired that it's really has been frustrating, and I try to remind myself, you're growing a human being, it's all fine. For the past, like, I would say at least two weeks, I've had to take a nap every single day because I don't sleep well. When I sleep, it's broken down between me having to pee, me having to switch position, the heat because we're in July. All of that means that I don't get more than an hour stretch of sleep before I have to get up or do something throughout the night. So even when I sleep like 7.5 hours, it's not a good sleep. And when I wake up in the morning, I usually can tell that I'm not okay. And at the beginning of the afternoon, like clockwork, I have to take a nap. Otherwise, I can definitely feel it and I don't feel like myself. And also, I think it's just my body is growing even more because baby's having another growth spurt, and also we're resting, preparing for birth. So sometimes I've really felt like this is really annoying. I want to do so much and I can't do anything because I'm too tired and there's so much to get done before baby gets here, and then I just have to chill and just be like, It is what it is. This is part of our journey and it's totally okay. But the feeling, you have to really get used to it because it is a different type of tiredness altogether. Another symptom, we're just gonna roll with the symptoms right now. The baby kicks or the baby movements, because babies head down on the bladder. This is quite something. It's just like a feeling you've never experienced before, having something kick you from the inside on your bladder and making you feel like your bladder is already so squished and like there's something kind of knocking on it and you're like, I'm gonna pee my pants right now. And also the movements, like the baby movements inside of my belly are incredible. Baby started moving pretty early on. I started feeling flutters around like in week 15 and then started feeling more and more movements. Week 18, 19 really, like I knew for sure. And it has just gotten stronger and stronger. So I do feel baby move a lot. But right now, it's quite insane. Like yesterday we were at dinner and we were eating salmon, which we have only once a month because that's what my endocrinologist wants me to do, like not more than that. And so I was like, I know you're enjoying the salmon, but honestly just chill right now because this is getting really painful. And I think baby kicked my rib cage or something and it was really painful for a bit. And I was like, wow, this is so insane to feel your baby move inside of you, and you can feel when they're moving sides, when they're kind of turning their limbs. You can tell the difference between their feet and their hands, and it's just mind-blowing what goes on inside of your body. And I've loved the feelings. Like, yeah, sometimes it is painful and sometimes it's like, oh my god, this is too late at night, I just want to sleep. Like it happened when I took my nap this afternoon. I was like, you have to calm down because mommy needs to sleep right now. But it's just like the sensations are really hard to explain, and I think you have to live them yourself to understand. But it's just precious. It's right now I'm thinking about like, I'm excited for baby to come, but at the same time I think I'm going to miss being pregnant for that feeling of always having my baby with me, feeling them move all the time, being able to communicate with them. It's just quite magical, honestly. But one thing that I've really been experiencing has been, I'm someone who loves control. It's just like my way of dealing with change in situations. It's like I like to have a little bit of control or knowledge. The whole thing with pregnancy is that you have no idea. So you do have a due date, but you do not know how it could evolve or what could happen, anything. I've had like those moments, especially in the past like couple weeks, when I'm like, when is baby going to get here? What is labor going to feel like? Will they sleep? How will I feel like postpartum? Will they be a chill baby or need us a bit more? Will we be okay as a couple? And it's a lot of question marks, and that is not really something that I'm usually comfortable with. And I've really had to learn that I don't like not knowing, but at the same time I need to ease myself into this feeling, because that's what happens with motherhood. You continuously have to deal with changes and your baby evolving and feeling like you're settled, and then there's another change and there's nothing you can do about it. But this feeling of not knowing and not being able to kind of prepare accordingly, if I knew that I had like only 4 weeks left, only, I don't know how many weeks, I could be able to prepare a bit more, to see people a bit more, to know when to do things. And right now I'm like, could happen any day from Monday, because I'll be 36 weeks. But then in France it's 41 weeks for your due date. So in 6 weeks anything could happen, but baby could be here earlier, but baby could be here later. It's just like that feeling of not knowing that I knew I would experience, but not to that level. And really another thing is that in pregnancy, time is very strange. I think the first trimester feels very long because you're really waiting for that 12-week mark to feel a bit better. And then the second trimester like flew by for me, like literally did not see it happen or anything. And then the start of the third trimester feels pretty quick, but then I've heard that after that, like around where I am, it feels a bit slower because you're more uncomfortable, you're more tired, and so you're kind of waiting for the end and you're waiting to meet your baby. You feel like time is so different that there's not a way for you to prepare for everything. You just have to kind of ease yourself into that feeling. it's just like crazy, and you're just waiting for the ultrasounds, to be honest. You're just waiting for seeing your baby, checking that everything's okay. And for me, like, I knew that you don't get that many ultrasounds. We got way more than anybody usually, like, honestly. But you are both super excited to see your baby and at the same time super nervous, because this is your chance, like your time to check that everything's fine. I was not expecting to feel that way, not expecting to be that nervous before every ultrasound, even when we knew everything seemed to be fine. Yeah, not knowing has been a challenge for me, but I've really learned that I'm actually not that bad at it. Not knowing, not being in control. It's just like, sometimes I just have to tell my brain that everything's fine. I still wanted to kind of touch base on a few things that are not really like super positive. They were just things that I experienced personally, and I just wanted to kind of talk about it, so that if that's something that you experience yourself or you will experience, unfortunately, you'll be fine. Is that sometimes in pregnancy you do feel very alone, and it's very strange because you can have the best family and friends and have an amazing support system and have a partner who's incredible. There are those moments when it just feels very lonely, because you are the one experiencing everything. You are the one who is on this unique journey, and you have the hormones, the feelings, the pains, all of these symptoms that go with pregnancy. Seeing your body change, not sleeping very well, having to be careful about what you're eating, having all of the doctor's appointments and everybody touching you all the time. And it does feel like you're on your own, kid. Yes, I'm using a Taylor Swift quote. It's just like so strange having to explain the sensations, how you're feeling, sometimes having to justify yourself, and you're just like, I wish you got what I'm talking about right now. I wish we could share the load as well. Sometimes you just want to talk about it, and sometimes you don't even want to talk about it. It's a weird thing when you can feel very lonely, but you don't necessarily want to see people. I know that Jen M had talked about it with her pregnancy, and she was like, I'm so lonely, I don't like it, but at the same time there's no one that I want to see. And it has happened to me. It's such a strange feeling, and at the same time you're never alone because you have your baby with you, which is great and such an amazing feeling. But with the experience, you may get all of the support that you need, but sometimes it does still is a lot. It's a lot on you, and that's totally normal. And so that's quite something. And on the other hand, sometimes it feels like your pregnancy is not just your own, and this journey that you're on with your partner, wanting to have a child, to create your own little family, you can have those moments when it feels like some people are entitled to your experience, your choices, and you need to kind of set boundaries and stop kind of caring what other people want from this experience, and just be like, I don't owe anything to anyone. I don't owe any explanation either. When some people are just like, why are you always tired? Why don't you want to do this or do that or whatever? Every time, man. You don't owe anything to anyone. You're already creating a human being. That's explanation enough. Sometimes it does feel like I'm on my own, but at the same time I feel like I owe people things that I don't understand, and I don't see it in the same way. And so sometimes this aspect has been a bit challenging, and you just have to learn to create boundaries. And I've talked about it with my therapist so many times, and she's like, this is your time in your life to really work on that, and that's why it's happening, and you just need to learn to do that. And I feel like when you're pregnant it's easier because mama brain. Another thing that I really wanted to talk about, because I feel like there's so much guilt once again when you are pregnant, that it's bad to feel like you're mourning your previous life. I know that it's something that usually it's more like in postpartum, but for me it started a bit earlier. I'm just like, whatever we're doing, and now that I'm seeing the due date approaching, I'm like, oh my god, this is the last time that we're doing this, or this is the last time doing this, just the two of us, and my brain just goes crazy, and I'm just like mourning our life, just the two of us, or things that I can do right now that I won't be able to do in the same way when baby will be here. And then I feel guilty about it, and I just have to remind myself that it's okay. Like, I'm super excited to be meeting my baby very, very soon, and this baby is so wanted. It's been like 2 years in the making because it was not the right time at that moment, but we really want that baby. We're super, super, super excited to meet them, but it doesn't change the fact that your entire life is about to change, and you have a right to mourn this chapter of your life as you're preparing for another one. It doesn't make you a bad parent. It doesn't make you any less excited. It's just a reality of things are changing, and that's okay. And I just have to prepare for it mentally. But I was not expecting the kind of mourning to happen in pregnancy. I knew it would happen probably in postpartum, not necessarily, but I knew it could happen. The last kind of thing that I really wanted to say is that each pregnancy, like I mentioned at the beginning, is unique. And so your symptoms, that they didn't experience that, it wasn't like that for them, that you're complaining too much, that you should be happier, or if you had an amazing pregnancy, that you're seeing everything with like pink colored glasses. Just you wait, when the baby will get here, things will change. Support and experience is nice to have when it's positive, and needed even in pregnancy, because it's quite something. But however you're feeling, whatever you're experiencing is valid, because you are the one experiencing it. You do not have to explain yourself. And I know that I'm someone who compares myself a lot, and I of course compared my pregnancy a lot, and sometimes felt bad when I felt like I'm just like complaining too much, I'm talking too much about the bad sides. It is what it is, like what the experience is, and I would not even qualify my pregnancy as a bad or difficult pregnancy, to be honest. It's had its challenges, its tougher moments with my health, especially with experiences that were not necessarily what I was expecting. But I'm so grateful to have been pregnant. I'm so grateful to be carrying my child. I don't like that some people feel the need to label a pregnancy, because we need to label everything apparently in society. It's just like, it is what it is, and you have a right to experience your pregnancy exactly the way you are, and it is unique. You do not have to explain yourself. It is what it is. So now that I've sweated buckets, because it is, I'm pretty sure 29 degrees in this room right now, and I've sweated so much because I sweat so much and I'm pregnant. I really wish you an amazing pregnancy if you are pregnant yourself. If you're not, and you're watching this because you know a friend or your partner or sister, whatever, is pregnant, just try to be there for them and support them however they need. I think the most important thing is to be a good listener, and to kind of ask the pregnant person what they need at that specific moment, if it's advice or just support. And I just hope that everything goes the way that you want and you need it to. I hope somehow this either taught you something or helped you feel less alone. And do subscribe if you've enjoyed. I will see you guys in the next one. And I feel so out of breath right now. Bye guys.